Alright, Sword Art Online Last Recollection release is upon us, so I'll give you some quick impressions from my time with the demo. This video will be followed by a little more extensive and in-depth first impressions a couple days down the line, and once I fully finish the game, I'll share my ultimate review, leaving no stone unturned. So like and subscribe for that, as well as more in-depth SAO coverage and news, but keeping all of that short, so far, my impressions with the Last Recollection demo have been mixed, but the main negative contributors are not deal breakers from my side and are far outweighed by the positive improvements, and that mixed feeling that I have about the demo, it mainly stems from confusion on a variety of aspects that feel like clashing against each other in the game. First and foremost, before I even say anything, for the love of God, just bring back the overlay map back into the game. I don't want to go into the full map every single time I want to have a quick look into anything larger than the measly minimap that we have. Moving on. To give you a quick profile on me so you know my perspective on things, I'm no hardcore player who min-maxes every single thing, but I'm not an extreme casual player who just puts things on easy to steamroll everything either, so I did not play this demo to go in and challenge the hardest free roam boss there ever is, or get a head start in the game by unlocking all the skills in my free time, or getting all the best weapons available in the demo that will be outclassed in an hour into the main game anyways, and all that jazz. I went into this demo first and foremost to cover the available story, and then just get a better feel for the game. I did some side quests here and there, explored the maps a bit, tried to get used to the new combat, and failed to do so up until now for reasons I'll talk about in a bit. And yeah, I think that's a good entry point, since it's where a lot of people are divided on the matter from what I have seen coming from the discourse around the game. The combat. Half of the returning players from Licorice really do not like the combat and call it too automated, whereas the other half of people, they appreciate the simplicity of the new systems and its ease of access. I find myself actually more so in the middle of this conversation. I actually like that they simplified a lot of the aspects of combat and that the bare minimum should feel a lot more accessible to all players now. I also feel like they fumbled a lot when it comes to this implementation, or rather, I'll say that it feels more like they created a chasm in the middle where it does not quite satisfy the average player, which I consider myself as one. I don't want to go too in-depth on this matter. I meant this video to be a more surface level, very early impressions, so a good example would be our attacking auto chain. Back in Licorice, after a basic attack chain, we had a single skill auto-used, and then we had to manually skill connect if we wanted to continue that chain. In Last Recollection, that auto-skill chains up to 3 different skills if you keep hitting that attack button. I think that's great. Lesser skilled players or those on a mindless grind can have a much more relaxed time, while the skilled players, they can just do their hardcore stuff as they do anyways. They don't need the auto chain and they are not forced to use it either. But for some reason, unlike Licorice, you cannot use the auto skill at the end to manually skill connect into more skills. You either do the predetermined auto chain, which does not count as skill connect anyways, and is thus low power and also heavily inflexible due to being locked into those 3 predetermined skills, or you just stop attacking and then start again. I feel like it should have been a very clear choice here to make those auto skills actually manually chainable if you want to, effectively making them an additional extension of our otherwise limited skill palette and the like. Whereas this implementation, it either requires me to go full casual and use the auto chain, or try to go full hardcore by going full manual. There's a middle ground missing here, and that is the chasm I'm talking about. Similarly, as another example, ally commands have been extremely simplified, so they are very easy to set up and use. That is wonderful, that is great, but it sticks out like a sore thumb because while their usage is simplified, their functionality was not. As a result, I find myself in this very simple looking screen with no idea as to what is supposed to do what exactly. I can assign skill commands, sure, but now I need to go to the skill screen and learn what the actual skill does or what a specific command is supposed to do. It's all so simplified that there is literally no meaningful info to digest on the screen. Why? Give me the bare minimum info as to what a skill or an ability does. You know, when the HP is low, use Blessed Paradise or whatever. Cool, what does that do? I would assume it heals. I have no idea what it does when setting the commands here. Spoilers, yes, it's a 20% heal actually. I checked by going into the skills. When enemy status break, use Moment Bite. Oh, cool, I guess it should be beneficial. Oh, wait, Moment Bite has no benefit for that. It is used when enemies are doing charge moves. Enemy has put up a shield. Better command Yu-Gi-Oh to use Warple Strike, I guess? That was a shield break move in Licorice. Wait. It's not a shield break anymore, which I learned by going into the skill tree to check manually, because the command screen does not clearly tell me what a given skill does. Sure, I had limited time with the demo, so maybe shield break and charge break were actually made into the same status in this game for technical reasons that I did not realize yet, but my point is, it's the design of these commands. They are oversimplified. I'm not gonna say oversimplified. It is very nicely simplified, but the presentation of itself is oversimplified for ease of access. That causes the presentation to require full-on skill effect memorization to use meaningfully. And these are just two surface-level examples with a lot more that can be pointed out within the game. The simplified features for accessibility, they often feel at odds with the functionality of the features, at least so far at a glance, which kind of further demotivates me from trying to learn them really. I really enjoy the streamlined things, but the final step of that execution, it seems to be missing in their simplification process to actually make it flexible and usable for the players who'd actually welcome that simplification. You know, the hardcore players, they will do things their own way, they will know these stuff anyways. So this simplification was not for them to begin with. It was for the casual players who needed to be encouraged to actually engage with these mechanics as well. And if you don't give them the basic information, they'll simply not going to be able to, no matter how simpler you make the system as a whole. On the other side of that spectrum, as for those complaining about the simplified combat or systems, all I'm gonna say is, you don't need to use the auto chain or the other things. It literally does not take away from your playstyle. Heck, your manual playstyle is going to be miles better than the simplified features anyways, so why complain that the skill floor now allows for more player to enjoy the game? That's just gatekeeping. Don't do that, you know, simplified ease of access for lower skill players, that is fine. But Akuria, seriously, why did you put the finishers into the same attack button that you want everyone to keep mashing? Please just remap it somewhere else. I don't want to uncontrollably enter a finisher because I was spamming the attack button. Other than these technicalities though, the game runs wonderfully. The change of the game engine has benefited it to no end. We're having a full 60 FPS display on PlayStation 5, almost instantaneous load times, which are further sped up by the fact that, unlike Licorice, Last Recollection does not try to contact the servers with every single loading screen, which is very much appreciated, thank you. The game just overall looks beautiful in that sense, and much more fluid than Licorice ever was. However, and that was something I really hoped they would eventually address because it was already visible in the gameplay previews they shared for months upon months, most animations, they feel like they were simply designed for a 30 FPS experience. During combat, the feeling of impact feels largely missing, which is a natural result of increasing frame rate without factoring that into your base animation. This is a phenomenon you can observe with those terrible 60 FPS interpolated anime clips as well. Everything has this eerie, almost too fluid feel to them. I've been told from PC players that 30 FPS lock makes the game indeed feel a lot more natural, which honestly I am not at all surprised about. But since we cannot seem to have the best of both worlds, as in 60 FPS with animation designed with that in mind as well, I'd say this is much better than having a game that is constantly chugging, so I'll consider this an imperfect upgrade in this case. And in the long run, it is something that your brain can probably adjust to anyways and can stop seeing it as uncanny. Heck, I imagine a large portion of you not even registering this as a problem, which is good, I guess. You know, it's just first world elitist animation problems. I just want to highlight something that they have actually improved so well that I'm genuinely surprised. Service quests, more commonly known as side quests or NPC quests sprinkled around the maps. These were one of my biggest disappointments back in Licorice, you know, even during the promotional stuff they made a huge deal out of them as to how you can earn bonuses, bonus discounts and all that kind of stuff, but they ended up being so lackluster that I never cared doing them outside of the main Centauria area because I just didn't need to. So I was very happy to see them improved. They are now similar to actual mini quest chains with worthwhile rewards here and there, even color unlocks for your outfits, so they feel a lot more worthwhile to have a look into in last Recollection. As for the story itself, I think we kicked off real good here. The start of it, while still very visual novel heavy, which some of you may not enjoy if you're not used to it, has much less exposition to start with and a lot more things happening in a meaningful way. The two new additions, Dorothy and Kainan, feel extremely fun and good characters to tag along with. They really are pleasant company, I'll put it that way, with good personalities and dynamics towards other characters, which was hard to say about the extremely unlikable Medina of Licorice. I don't have much to say on Sarai at the moment and cannot be sure whether she'll be anything more than she's a cute escort mascot, which to be frank, I don't mind that much anyways. Not everyone has to have that main crew energy or vibe, and she'll probably function similarly to Medina's Wayfarer friend in Licorice. The second half of the demo story, however, kinda took a nosedive because I could barely call the story to begin with. It was basically filled with the typical Akuria puzzle filler content that also felt so out of place in Underworld. It was fully silent, and we know that they're at least adding stock voice acting to it in the main game once it releases, which is, you know, acceptable for this kind of padding, but well, I just did not expect this obvious padding so early on that it would appear on a short demo slice in the first place. These things are usually mid-game time wasters, so I was surprised, or rather shocked even, that this one made it into the demo, a piece of content meant for impressing the audiences. And we all know, you know, puzzle padding, it does not impress anyone really, especially this early on. I'd appreciate if the story would throw a little bit more combat opportunities at my way, you know, it's still the early hours, and as a heavy visual novel style game with little gameplay throughout the course of the story, it'd be a better choice to just pull up some enemies as obstacles to get player accustomed to your combat systems rather than plunging them into an extensive and tedious puzzle portion that halts progression. Just my 2 cents really. But the most important thing on the story front was the introduction of the new plotline and its characters, and I'm very thrilled with both Dorothy and Kainan, and I can go as far as giving them a full-on 10 out of 10, at least for the little bits we have seen from them in the demo. Very likable, cheerful, cute, entertaining displays of character here. I'm looking forward to spending a lot more time with them, and that's probably one of the best things one can say about recently introduced characters. Actually wanting to see more of them. Something I really was not able to say about Medina back in Licorice. That's all I got. As I said, I meant this to be some quick surface level impressions of the demo. I'll go a bit more in depth with my usual first impressions video I'll do when I'm around 10 to 15 hours into the game, and the ultimate review will follow whenever I finish the game completely. It's an Akuria game, it's gonna be a long one. If you have any questions, ask them below in the comments. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And of course, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Check these videos on the screen if you haven't. It helps them show up in YouTube recommendations, thus helping the channel immensely. I strongly recommend my opening explained for Last Recollection. A huge thanks to all my channel members and patrons, and as always, stay cool.